This Nissan Altima has 486,000 miles on it. All right, so one thing I think is very important for our economy and very, very important to the car market, and I talk about this a lot on my channel, are repos. And if you look at this whole line right here, this is all one seller, and this is the most cars that I've ever seen them bring to this auction. And why that's important and why it's important for me to keep checking on it is because mostly what they bring is repos. This is a larger buy here, pay here dealer, and all these cars that they're bringing right here, they're going to be repos. These are people that could not pay for their cars, and this dealer went and got them, and now they're dumping them here at the auction. And that's really what we're seeing across the board right here. I've been to other bigger auctions. I've been to ADESA auction. They're owned by Carvana, but they run a lot of independent dealers. They run a lot of bank cars in particular. And we're seeing that Wells Fargo, Capital One, these larger banks, they're actually sending a lot more of their repos to these auctions right now because they're just getting way more of them. And why it's so important to our economy is because these people that are allowing these cars to go back, they're not able to make their payments. They got in too deep into their car payments, and now as the cost of living goes up, they're not able to actually afford to keep their cars, so they're getting them repoed. And I get a lot of comments saying, well, you know what, isn't that going to be helpful for the car market, because these people are just going to get their cars repoed and then they're just going to have to go buy another one. Well, when they're getting their cars repoed by Wells Fargo, by these larger banks, their credit gets just absolutely hammered. So what are they going to have to do? Because they couldn't make their car payments, so they don't have any money. So they can't just walk into a new car dealer, a franchise dealer, and say, okay, I want to buy a brand new car, and I don't really have any money to put down, but I still want to own a new car. They can't do it. So they are actually pushed to go to these small buy here, pay here dealers and see if they can scrounge up $1,000, $1,200 for a down payment. And then they go into, again, the monthly payment spiral that got them into trouble in the first place, but it's much lower payments. It's worse cars. I mean, it's cars like this right here, where, I mean, busted paint. I mean, that's a kind of a overstatement that a brand new car obviously is going to be way better than what these people are going to have to get into. But when you get into these cars like this right here, and you're putting $1,000 down and you're making monthly payments of $300, $500, stuff breaks on those cars, and these people don't have money to begin with. They didn't have money to afford their car payments to begin with, so they're not going to be able to fix their cars. So it's just this nasty spiral of really being poor. And the problem is with these people that are buying these kind of cars, because they had their cars repoed, is that everything is costing more money. So as they get these cars repoed, and if they're able to scrounge up that money to get into another car, it's probably going to happen again. So you're really not helping out the system, because these are customers that are going to buy cars and then just continuously get them repoed and to start the whole process over. And it ends up costing them a lot more money in the long run, because they really own nothing at the end of the day. And it's really sad to be in that kind of situation, but that's what our economy is going to right now, and what we're seeing a lot, because we're seeing so many more of these repos pop up. So really what happens is it doesn't really help the car market for these people to continuously buy and let go of their cars, buy and let go of their cars, because it's just a one-for-one trade-off, and they're not buying more cars and they're not able to buy more cars. Now, if they could be in an environment where they can actually pay off their car, a lot of times people will buy a second car, a backup car, or they'll upgrade, and that's what helps the car market. But we're not going to see that anytime soon, as far as volumes coming into these auctions, volumes coming into these new car dealerships to buy and upgrade more cars, because interest rates are too high, monthly payments are too high, the prices of these vehicles are too high. And we're seeing that banks know that this is coming, and know that that these repos are going to keep rising, because a lot of them have stated that they want to get out of the auto lending market. A lot of them have even cut floor plans. They've gotten out of providing lines of credit for dealers completely, because they know that this space right here it's going to get bad. And we're seeing it with all these cars right here, these repos. When when people can't make their payments, then dealers can't make their payments to the banks to be able to buy more inventory. So it's just going to be a spiral of just poop after poopy after poop after poopy. And as this spiral keeps going on, then you're going to see customers getting hit first. That's what's happening right now. That's why you see these repos. Second, you're going to see these dealers get hit. We're already seeing it. There's less dealers at auctions, less dealers that want to buy cars. The wholesale prices are coming down. And then you're going to see the banks get hit, because they're the ones that are going to be holding a lot of this paper at the end of the day. And if the dealers can't pay it off, then these banks are going to take a lot of losses on what these dealers had in their inventory. And they're going to just take those vehicles that they actually repo from these dealers. Yes, dealers get their cars repoed from these banks, and then they're going to send them to the auction to these same dealers that are already in trouble. So prices are going to continuously go down just because of this spiral that's going on right now. And a lot of times when these dealers get repos, this is what they look like. So if this customer right here, let me get that right, if this customer right here still owes $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on this car, this dealer's sending this car to auction to dump. They're not going to get their money back out of it that this customer still owes. So they're going to end up taking a big loss on that car, because it's probably only going to bring $1,500, maybe not even $1,500 with big crunch like that, probably $800 to $1,000. They're not getting their money back. They're going to have to take a loss. That's what happens with a lot of these repos, and it forces a lot of these dealers that actually do the buy here, pay here, that actually finance their own cars. It causes them to actually charge more money for the cars that they're going to sell to the other customers, because the good customers have to pay for the bad customers. That sounds dumb and I hate it, but that ends up happening because the good customers that actually make their payments every month, they have to cover the losses on the bad ones that don't make their payments, and the dealer has to take losses. All right, so I actually wanted to show you guys this car right here. So I buy a lot of Nissan Altimas. This is like a 2002 to 2006 body style. They don't have the CVT transmissions in them, so I don't buy 2007 and up, because CVT transmissions are poopy. This body style does not have that. But we buy these Altimas a lot, and I get a lot of questions about, well, you buy cars that you can sell for $5,000 and under. Do they even last? And typically when I buy a car like this, it's a 2002 to 2006, 180, 220,000 miles, somewhere around there. And we'll pay usually around $1,500 to $2,000 for it, sell them for between $2,500, $3,000. If it's super nice, $3,500. And I want to show you that a car like this, yes, it can last, because when we buy it, it's somewhere around probably 180, 200,000 miles. And this one right here at this auction lot, this is the mileage right here. So it's got 486,000 miles. So yes, a lot of these cars that I buy, they will run, and they will run for a very long time. You just have to take care of them. All right, and a lot of you have been asking in the comments, what's up with my truck? So just if you don't know, a few weeks ago I bought a truck, got a really good deal on it. So I think it's a 2017 F-150, 80 something thousand miles on it. I paid $15,300 or $15,400 for it. Retail value on it somewhere around 30 grand. So I got a really good deal on it. It had a misfire in it and a potential timing issue. So I knew I was going to probably have to put some work into it. I ended up buying it. I drove it home. It drove great. Transmission was good. And I was thinking, because it drove great, timing was fine. Got it to my mechanic that deals with all of our engine work, and he said timing was fine too. But it was not just a miss that could be fixed with a coil, which is really cheap. It actually had some compression problems in one of the cylinders. So we have to pull the head and actually fix one of the valves in there. But because it's a truck that I'm going to be driving for a while we're in there, you know what, we're just going to pull both heads. We're going to do all the valves. Also, while we're in there, it doesn't need the timing done, but we're going to just go ahead and do that too. So we're just going to basically redo everything, just because it's a lot of work to actually get in there to get to these parts that needs to be replaced. And really, I mean, more than half the work is just getting to it. So while you're in there, you might as well go ahead and replace everything that you want to replace while you're in there. That could go bad later on, so we don't have to go ahead and pull the heads again to fix this problem again if it happens in the near future. But I know everything's going to be done on the truck, and long story short, it's going to cost about $4,000 to do this. So normally it wouldn't cost that much if I was just fixing the issue that was going on with this truck, but because I'm going to be driving it for a while, I'm just going to go ahead and have everything done to it. So I'm going to have a truck that I know is good because we have lots and lots of new parts in it for under $20,000, that's it. I would have rather it just been a coil and just replace that for about 40 bucks and be able to drive until something else happens to it. But I will feel good about driving it and not really worrying about it because we're going to have all this stuff that we've already done to it. I don't like spending the $4,000, but I like still having a good deal on this truck. The work's done, and it should last me for a while. Problem is, I usually only drive something for about 6 months to a year before I get tired of it and want something different. So hopefully not with this. I like F-150s, so hopefully I'll keep this one longer than I typically keep something before I just sell it and then buy something else. I really do like what F-150s. I've wanted to have a nice one for a while, so I think I'll be able to drive this one for quite a bit. So there's your truck update.